Right now, let's go back to what happened at the weekend and, of course, the arrest of, well, 8 in total, but 6 Republican campaigners against the monarchy who turned up from the staff of the organisation Republic, who were arrested, detained for up to 16 hours and then released without any charge. The Met Police expressed regret for those arrests. Well, yesterday, the head of the Metropolitan Police defended the policing of the Coronation. He also had support from Home Office Minister Chris Philp in the House of Commons, and he had support from the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who said it was a difficult job but didn't want to get involved in any individual decisions. Let's talk about this with Peter Bleksley. He's a former Metropolitan Police detective. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Now, I've been really intrigued to get your point of view on this. I've got to be honest with you, Mike Graham and I fell out yesterday, and it's rare that we fall out over this issue, because I really do think it's absolutely vital that people are allowed to peacefully protest on any subject at any time, as long as they are within the law and not disrupting things. It was very clear that Republic had no intention to disrupt the proceedings. They just simply wanted to make their voices heard in a democracy, as they're entitled to do. Even if it annoys people, they're entitled to do it. They've been in talks for 4 months with the police. They'd agreed where they would go, how many people would be there and what they would do, all agreed in advance. And then on the morning, hours before, they were arrested and detained for 16 hours with no reasonable cause. It's very clear, because otherwise they wouldn't have expressed regret and they wouldn't have had an apology from a chief inspector. Were they right to do what they did?
Well, welcome to the two-tier double standards policing of the Metropolitan Police. If the King is having a coronation, then you can guarantee that the Met Police will be fast and furious, and they will use every piece of legislation at their disposal to ensure that there is no embarrassment and that the pictures are all great for the world to see and enjoy. However, if you're an ordinary Londoner going about your business and somebody decides to sit down in the road in front of your vehicle and prevent you going to hospital or going to work or taking the kids to school, then the Metropolitan Police will be weak and they will be woke. And should you get out of your car to remonstrate, then you will be the person threatened with arrest.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the issue, isn't it? It's the two-tier policing that everyone is so upset about. It's different rules for different times. That said, I mean, my audience, very much on Mike's side largely yesterday, is saying, look, this was a special occasion, it's a one-off event, and therefore, the police needs to be different. Millions of people wanted to enjoy this event, hundreds of thousands, on the streets. And I can completely understand that point of view, except, of course, when, people say they want the right, these basic civil rights and the important role of the monarchy as a constitutional monarchy. But a crucial part of that is that we do have these fundamental democratic rights. And it is very difficult when the police seem to just pick and choose when they exist and when they don't. But what's so frustrating for us is when people who are not broken the law, no evidence they've broken the law, the 30 or 40 officers who surrounded the Republican team, if they were given the name of the Silver Commander they'd been in touch with, they could have made a phone call, they could have established that these people were legitimately there. I mean, literally could have all been done in half an hour, not a problem. But they didn't do that. They kept them for 16 hours. And yet they also keep, for many hours on end, motorists going about their lawful business, trying to cross a bridge, drive through Oxford Street, M25, people trying to get out, get oil tankers out of oil depots and the like, and they don't act, even when those people are clearly breaking the law. And that's the bit that I think we just find so frustrating. Why do they get it so wrong so often? And I'm very much on the side of the ordinary police officer on the street. Is it their decision-making, or is it from on high?
Well, clearly there is a lack of consistency here. And what I would like to see is that policing that is fit for a king should surely be fit for his subjects. And with regards to the Republic protesters on Saturday, there was clearly a breakdown in communication between the senior officers that had been engaged in the conversations with them and the officers on the ground.
Now, you say that. I think that's quite a naive view. I think the video footage of that arrest suggests that's not the case.
Well, these briefings that take place on the morning of an event such as a coronation invariably happen at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning in a vast warehouse-type premises with many hundreds upon hundreds of officers being briefed by their sector inspector, for example, maybe a sergeant or even an officer of some rank above, but not the really senior police officers who prowl the corridors of power at the Yard and whom Republic may have been speaking to. So I suspect there was a breakdown of communication there. But there's also another matter which I think is equally important here. Many senior police officers will tell you that officers do not need to know the law parrot fashion. They don't need to learn the acts and sections word for word, because there is no necessity for that. I would have the contrary view to that. I think it's vitally important that officers are properly trained, intensively trained, so they do know the law, so they do know where the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, because if they know it properly, they can therefore apply it properly. But on that note, there does seem to be a contradiction here, because when the crown is being placed on the king's head, the police enforce the law, and yet when people are sitting in the street, the police are interpreting the law.
Yes.
Therein lies
pick a side. I mean, the Met Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, he said the police had received serious and reliable intelligence that activists planned to use rape alarms and loud hailers to disrupt the event. Now, again, those were the eco activists. That was the claim. And of course, then we did see those people who were working for the actually representatives, volunteers for Westminster Council, handing out rape alarms to vulnerable women. And some of those were under arrest. They were also released without charge, understandably as well. These are volunteers for the charity Night Star. But the Met Commissioner also said there were people posing as stewards caught with bottles of paint they intended to throw at the parade. But again, that is illegal. That is illegal. Someone being caught with that sort of, why are you doing carrying a bottle of paint? Why are you posing as a steward? Absolutely, they have to police those people. But the key thing is, it doesn't take 16 hours to decide, or even indeed 2 hours to decide whether somebody is actually, someone who's going to be of concern. And that's the issue. I just think this whole thing has been massively politicised, and frankly, it makes me very, very wary and very, very scary. And I think people like me just think, I can't trust the police to be on my side as a law-abiding citizen. That makes me very worried. Can I also ask you about Nicola Bulley? Of course, we spent so much time, 23 days, of course, they were searching for the body of 45-year-old mother of two, Nicola Bulley, back in January. Just a horrible, horrible, sad story if she fell into the River Wyre. Lancashire Police have been told they're going to face no further action over disclosing details about her personal life, her battles with mental health and alcohol and the like. Big criticism that they'd put this out, and that the police had put this information out basically to stop people criticising them for their failures in finding her, whether she was dead or alive, and that they'd done it for the wrong reasons. Do you think it's right? Two different investigations, two different watchdogs, including the Information Commissioner's Office and others, have actually looked into this and said they didn't do anything wrong. Do you agree?
No, I don't. I think that their handling of the information that they released around Nicola and her disappearance was very clumsy on occasion, and in fact the vulnerabilities that they gave details of sometime into the search for her, I think could have been avoided if they'd merely said right from day one, this woman has vulnerabilities, they're a medical matter, please do not ask any more probing questions about it. But they didn't. However, these two establishment bodies have conducted their investigations, and lo and behold, they've decreed that another establishment body, Lancashire Police, did nothing wrong. So be it. There is another inquiry by the College of Police, and that will probably report in the autumn. But of course, we are waiting for the coroner's inquest, and it will be on that occasion that we hear all of the information. And I hope that that information goes a long way to perhaps quashing the still rampant gossip, rumour and speculation that surrounds this tragic event.
Absolutely. Peter Bleksley, always so good talking to you, former Metropolitan Police detective.